Hey guys, it is Bree the Realtor, and I just kind of thought about it. I've given you all the steps to buy a house, what that process looks like, but I didn't tell you how much it costs to buy a house. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. So the first step is once you're under contract, the first payment that's gonna be due is your binder deposit, or also called your earnest money deposit. This typically ranges from 1% to 10%. The stronger the earnest money deposit, the better the offer is. It's just that simple. So let's use some basic numbers for example. You purchase a townhome for $250,000. 1% of that would be $2,500. That earnest money deposit goes towards your down payment. So of $250,000, if your down payment was $15,000, you minus the $2,500, and that's the remaining balance for the down payment that you would owe at closing. So that's the first one, the earnest money deposit. Second is the inspection period. So this is when you get all of your inspections, your septic, your pool, your standard home inspection, your 4-point, your wind mitigation, whatever's relative to your house, whatever you're going to need for your home, those are the inspections that you would get. Typically, I would say, especially in Florida, in the Jacksonville area, the most common inspections are a home inspection, a WDO inspection. And what WDO stands for is wood destroying organisms. They check for termites or any type of organisms that may be contributing to your house deteriorating. If that happens, that inspection report will come back. You will see the issues that need to be addressed, what may be the cause of it, and then you can work with the seller to take care of that through repair requests, or that's something that you are willing to take on if you move forward with purchasing the home. If you have a pool, I highly recommend for you to get a pool inspection. You just never know. The 4-point is typically going to check all of your appliances, make sure everything is good. Some insurance companies do require a 4-point inspection, so I would just make sure to check if that's necessary to get actual insurance. But if so, you'll go on ahead and get that done, and that's something that your inspector can do. Along with, if you have a septic, please hear me out. If you have a septic or a well system, get a well or septic inspection. There is nothing worse than you buy a home, especially for your septic. You move in, you did not do the proper inspections, and you find out that you have a very high expense about to come your way because something was not functioning properly with the septic tank. So if you are going to spend thousands of dollars on a home and your home has a septic tank that is not brand new, probably even if it was brand new, I would get a septic inspection just to make sure everything's good, along with the well inspection. If you don't have a well or septic, that typically means you're going to be on public water and public sewer. So whichever your, public utilities company is in your area, that's what you would go through. Let's see. Next step is the appraisal. And so two things. The only two costs that you will never get back is the inspection cost, any money that you spend on inspections, and your appraisal. You typically will have to, you won't be able to get that back. Typically, I'm not a lender. I don't want to really say for sure you're not going to get that back, but typically we always like to move forward with buyers and educate them that two costs that you have that you should be really willing to give is the inspection and the appraisal. So the appraisal tells you what the value of your home is. So anyone can list their house for whatever they want. You can list a house for $300,000, but if the appraisal comes back at $275,000, that's what the market value is for your home based on an appraiser, a qualified home professional. They do tons of these a year, tons of these probably a day. They study the market, they study the market value, whatever the value comes back at, that is what the lender deems as the value of your home. Now, this is important. A lender will only lend you up to the appraised value. So there's a home that you love that had a list price of $275,000. You had to be competitive, so you offered $300,000. If that home comes back at an appraised price of $275,000, you're going to have limited options here. You're going to hope that the seller comes down at $275,000 and renegotiates. If not, you will have to pay that gap out of pocket. If you cannot come to terms with that, then you will have to walk away. If there's no agreement that can be agreed upon between you and that seller, then you all will walk away and you can get your binder deposit back. Typically, you can get your binder deposit back. If you don't get your loan approved, you can get your binder deposit back. But what is important, you have to be notified that your loan is not going to be approved within the loan approval period. So in the contract, it will have a certain amount of days that you have to get approved for your loan. If you are unable to get financing in that time frame, you are entitled to your binder deposit. If it is after that, you are subject to lose your binder. That doesn't mean that that's what the seller is going to do, but I would operate like that is what the seller is going to do, that you are going to forfeit your binder if you're not doing what's necessary to get financing in this time period. So just really quick to go back to the appraisal. These typically vary. Right now, what I'm seeing between $500 and $750. I would say if you did a $750, that's typically a rushed appraisal. If you're very time sensitive with your contract date, say you wanted to be competitive and do like 14 days or 21 days, this is when you would get that higher end appraisal to make sure that it can come back in time. But I would say the range that I've seen for appraisals right now are between $500 and $750, and they can take about 2 weeks to be conducted and to get back. So something that you really need to be aware of. So lastly is the closing cost. The closing cost typically accounts for 2 to 5% of your purchase price. So what you can do, let's take $250. Let's do 2% of that. I pray my math is right. If it's not, I'll put it up here on the left or right or whatever way the camera turns this. But I think 2% of $250,000 is $5,000. So that would be your estimated closing cost. Your closing cost is a debit is what you're going to see on your Alta statement or your closing disclosure. In addition to your closing costs, the closing costs and your down payment. These two go together. The closing cost is not within the down payment. Those are two separate charges. So again, closing costs range from 2 to 5%. For the example of $250,000, you have a 2% closing cost, and that will be $5,000. Let's hold on to that. Then we're going over to the down payment. This is something that you will discuss with your lender. We've seen 100% financing, 97% financing, 95% financing. If you need an investment loan, that's typically 20% financing. So whatever that percentage is of the purchase price, you are responsible to pay that out of pocket, and the rest will be financed. So let's take $250,000 again. I hope I can do this math. Let's say you have a 98% loan to value. And so that means you would be coming out of pocket 2%. Well, we already said the closing cost at 2% was $5,000. So if you add the $5,000 closing cost and the $5,000 down payment, your total to close to purchase the house that you wanted, $250,000, would be $10,000. There are assistant programs out there. There's so many ways that you can get creative of getting assistance on your closing and down payment. But let me just make this clear. Even though there are assistance programs out there, you are responsible to pay that back. It is very rare that you just have free money that you don't have to pay back. A lot of these assistant programs are at 0%. So let's say you need the $10,000 to help cover your funds. You would be paying that back. So your house at $250,000, you got to add $10,000 to that. Your total is about $260,000. But of that 10,000, that's at 0% compared to maybe the 4.875% you're paying for the home. So a little bit different percentages, but most importantly, you have to pay that back. So I always encourage my buyers, stack your cash. If you don't have to use assistance programs, don't use it. They're just not free. You have to pay it back. It doesn't necessarily help you in the long run. Your goal is to create equity, and you want to be able to recoup the money that you're putting into your home once you're ready to sell it or buy another home. So again, save as much money as you can, because we don't want to have to use assistant programs if we don't have to. Some fun fees, or you probably wouldn't even deem them fun, but some additional fees that buyers will have are broker transaction fees. So this is like a fee that most buyers will pay for electronic storage, that we are obligated to keep all of your information for infinity and beyond. Let's hit that Buzz Lightyear, infinity and beyond. These fees vary. My current broker We have our standard fees, and then other brokers will have different fees. So you just have to talk, check with your realtor, see what their broker fees are. Truth be told, that's really not a make or break. They're typically not so excessive or expensive that it would deter you from working with someone that you really, really connect with. But just know they do vary broker by broker. It is not standard. So let's recap. Earnest money deposit, that's your first one, or the binder deposit. That is a down payment that tells the seller, I, Brianna Johnson, am interested in purchasing this home. Here is a deposit to show and express my interest to secure the home, take it off the market, and we're moving towards buying the home. Your earnest money deposit or your binder deposit goes towards your down payment. Second, your inspection fees, home inspection, well, pool, you name it. Those are fees that you will be paying out of pocket that do not go towards anything. It is just a simple out of pocket expense. You will not see this back, but what you have to think about is it's better to pay $500 for an inspection compared to being stuck with a $250,000 home that has a ton of problems. So don't really let it discourage you. It's just the name of the game. That's the process. Let's see what's next. The appraisal. The appraisal is what deems the value of your home by a certified professional appraiser. Next, I think we went to closing costs. This typically is 2 to 5% of your purchase price. It has all your recording fees, all your lender fees, everything that's wrapped up with purchasing a home that is consistent, that is within your closing costs. Then we have your down payment. The down payment is going to be whatever that loan to value ratio is. Again, we've seen 3%, 2%, 100% financing, which that means you don't have any down payment. But just remember, the more that you put down towards your down payment, the lower your monthly payment will be. If you put 50% down of a $200,000 loan, that means you only owe $100,000. Your payments will be lower over a 30-year term. If you need full funding of $250,000, your payment is going to be more because you owe more. Remember, interest is not your friend. So the more that you put down, the better and more money you will save. Lastly, is the broker transaction fee. Again, that varies per broker. Just make sure you talk with your real estate agent to see what that fee is. So I hope this helps you. Again, I think I talked about it on the first video I did about the steps of buying a home, but buying a home truly is it's a big process, but it is freeing. It's one of the best financial decisions that you can ever make in your life. So if you are thinking about purchasing a home, let's just connect. I can help coach you through it. I can help walk you through it, even if you don't use me. Of course, I would love for you to use me. But even if you don't use me, I would really love for anybody and everybody who wants to purchase a home to become a home buyer. I started my journey at 25 years old, just closed on a property today. I want to build a massive real estate portfolio so when I'm older, I can put my feet up, take care of my kids, and do the things that I want to do. And I'm going to do that through real estate. So if you have any questions, again, connect with me. It was so great speaking with you all tonight. Subscribe, like, follow, tell your friends and family, anybody in Florida, especially in the Jacksonville area, that Breather Realtor is cool and here to help. See you.